Woo! What did we just watch? Hello and welcome to Contramundum. I am Andrew Isker, and with me is CJ Engel. We're joining you late in the night after the presidential debate. And so the question of the night is, did Joe Biden survive the debate? CJ Engel,
I'm
what say you?
I'm pulling up Twitter so I can get my talking points.
Well,
I guess it was worse than everyone thought it would be. He did worse. Did you watch it?
yes, every second.
He did worse. He did bad.
Man, it was
The increasing
bad.
doses of chemical concoctions are no longer doing it.
No.
And he had a week to rest.
A full week. He just was in bed all week long.
They had a 7-minute delay on for their editing team.
Yeah.
And he still came off like the mental equivalent of a bowel movement.
Yeah, they shut off the mics and multiple times throughout the debate, they like when he started to glitch, right? And like, all right, thank you, Mr. President. And they just shut off his mic and like saved him every single time. Right. It was bad. What was that? And in comparison, like the microphone thing where they're shutting off the mics and they wouldn't let them talk over each other, because that was an issue 4 years ago, right? And they're just screaming at each other for an hour, and it was awful. That majorly helped Trump, right? Because he just shut up and let Biden talk, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't. Yeah, he's just sitting over there like, the whole time. It was great. It was great.
So is Biden out? Is that the king? By the way, wasn't the VP announcement supposed to be tonight?
It was supposed to be tonight, but maybe he was like, the VP will be there with me. But he didn't actually say that he was going to announce it. Yeah. Was JD Vance there?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I hope so.
I wasn't there. For the record, I was not there. I've been passed over. But I'm curious though. Like, so do you think Biden's going to make it to November?
That's a twofold question, because will he be alive in November is one question. The other question is, will they, just not nominate him, or will he, be forced to step down?
Yeah.
Like over the last couple of weeks, Hillary Clinton has started to come out of hiding and do public appearances, right? That did you believe that? Or like Gavin Newsom is the thing people say and things like that. I think they're just so far down the road with this.
That's what I think, man. Like,
they cannot replace him. Yeah,
can't do that.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think they can. I don't think they can. I think and this, maybe we could talk about this later, but the bigger question, right, if we really want to get into the deep politics of everything, is, did the regime are they throwing in the towel and saying, we're just going to let him win?
That's the other question,
right?
They're a regime that needs to learn how to pivot, right? I mean, there's a lot of, there can be advantages to another Trump administration for them and their narrative
from their standpoint.
Yeah. It makes me uneasy about things, but like the ultimate, what Trump opens up is personnel. Like, if we can get, I mean, it's not about Trump, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people like Stephen Miller, allowing Steve Bannon in a little bit. Like, these are the guys that can actually do something, not Trump. That's what it's about. So
yeah, I think so. I mean, and even, I mean, the reason, and this is stuff we've said since the beginning of the podcast, really, is that like Trump himself doesn't matter. Like, there's all these liabilities with him and problems with him and so forth, and we've talked about those ad nauseum. It's what he as an historical personage a historical personage represents, right? Yeah. He represents tens of millions of heritage Americans that have never had a voice in their entire lifetimes, right? That's what they fear in him, is having like this human Schelling point where all of these people, who many of whom are just completely checked out of politics and so forth, can have somebody to believe in, right? That's what they're more fearful of than what the man himself is even able to accomplish. But Yeah, yeah. So guys in the comments here, like Steve is like on CNN, they're talking about dumping him.
Yeah,
Like
so
I
dumping him for what? Dumping him for just capitulating to Trump or to like Newsom or something?
yeah, it's like Newsom or Hillary or Kamala.
Hillary would be
You know,
like Newsom would do better than Hillary.
I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. But I don't think they can at this point. Like I I don't think so. Right? I
So
just I have my doubts.
is it a legal thing, or is it a strategic thing?
I
I
think it's
mean,
a legal thing, an infrastructure thing. Like you have this campaign set up and established over um over years now. And to start that from scratch,
yeah,
right, overnight, that
couldn't be
I don't
overnight.
know.
There's also no way they wouldn't have seen this coming. They really thought they could get away with tonight. That's the thing. They've
I
had
don't
to,
know.
they've had to have some backup plans.
They're very hubristic people though, right? And think about it from like the regime's perspective with Biden, and this is stuff we've talked about before too. It's like you got this guy who, I mean, no reasonable person sees him and thinks like this is the guy who's in charge, like he has any executive power in real terms. Um, and that's like perfect for them. That is what they
Yeah.
want. They want someone that has no say in anything, and the machinery can just operate the way it does without any interference by an executive.
Mhm.
And 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 so it's ideal for them if they could just get his barely animated corpse right across the finish line. Right, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And I think they're thinking like if we could just keep stringing him along a little bit longer. Um, but yeah, if
I
I
think
mean,
that's true, but they still need the myth. They still need the
yeah.
legitimacy, you know? Like
Mhm.
you still need someone there that they can say, "Look, you guys voted for this person. He
Mhm.
represents the consent of the people." I mean,
Mhm.
the crash of the ideological consensus is really significant to them. So they can't just operate with a Biden forever. I mean, now they're trying to convince us. I mean, what are they going to do in November? Convince us that 90 million people voted for Biden? So I don't know, man. I feel like they'd have to go with someone else. That's
Yeah, they
that's
will. I
got to
mean,
be the meaning of dumping him.
well, that's the thing too. Like one of the things that the oddities in this is like the earliest there's ever been a presidential debate. Like, has there ever been one in June? Usually they're in like August and September and October.
Yeah.
The I cannot remember a presidential debate where the two candidates faced off months before each of them was nominated.
This
Right.
was this debate was called by Biden, right? Did
I believe
Biden
so.
challenge
Yeah.
him? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So they were taunting him. They've got something up their sleeve, man. Like I feel it. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, like here this is an interesting point from NTW12.
RFK swap.
I don't know, man.
What does
I
that
don't
mean?
know.
Like
Like they
RFK
would just
that
put him in. Yeah, they would just put him in they would just nominate him in
they're
Biden's place.
comfortable with his war stances, his vaccine stances.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
I don't know, man. Because
I
I
don't
actually
know.
think he's a true believer in his stuff. I think he really
Yeah.
believes he's really
Mhm.
authentic would be a good word. I don't always agree with him, but he's actually authentic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, this is from
Hard to
from Katie
control an authentic person.
from Katie Headland here. Yeah, early debate so people forget it long before the election. Yeah, I think like the details of the debate no one is going to remember. And even this debate, I mean, like the details don't really matter ever
Mhm,
anyway. It's always just the window dressing and how they come across. Um, and the thing that will be memorable for people is why apparently the CNN commentators are losing their minds right now.
mhm,
Is that uh, you have this decrepit, feeble old man that, I mean, other than the most blue anon, true believers, right? Uh, like anyone reasonable sees that and is like, that guy's the president of the United States right now, right? That's
mhm,
the guy sitting in the Oval Office and with his finger on the nuclear button, right?
mhm.
Right now, that's our president, and I mean, he has never looked more like a dementia patient than tonight.
Yeah.
Right. Like I mean, really, like, I don't know, CJ, if you've seen, if you've been around, and this is like a morbid comparison, but like, I tweeted this, right? If you've seen people that are near death, like, grandparents, and you've been around, like, when they're on their deathbed talking, right? That is what he sounded like tonight. I mean, this is not hyperbole. I'm not joking around, right? He sounded like an old man who was about to die.
Okay,
And
so then that's the avenue. That's the legal avenue
yeah,
for a
maybe,
replacement.
or just 25th Amendment. Like, you got to step down, right? We need to
Oh,
have,
because if he steps down
and
as
Kamala's the
president,
president, and
Kamala as the president. Yeah.
could you imagine a debate between her and Trump, with her cackling the whole time, and her mindless, kindergarten analogies that she makes.
Oh man. I mean, that would be hilarious. First of all, Trump would just absolutely wreck Kamala Harris. But I don't.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I mean that could be an avenue. That makes more sense than just
yeah,
swapping them out. They just like literally just take him out. It's
yeah.
so
I think this point is good from John Wright. Right, CNN's priming the narrative. Biden is the nominee, so he is the only one who can drop out. The debate came early to help prep the people for the narrative of stepping down. Yeah, I think
so it's
that's
sort of like
that's
yeah,
plausible.
because he can't he's not capable of making his own decisions. So they could just make him announce
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Maybe,
over.
yeah, in like a week or two, or something. Yeah, yeah, I can see
Um
that.
yeah. And then
It
what? Kamala would be the front. No, I mean, not necessarily Kamala, huh? It could be
Then it would
anybody,
just be wide open, and like the way the Democratic, the DNC operates is you have all these super delegates, so
right?
it's not this clean thing anyway, but it would be this brokered convention. Maybe it would be Gavin Newsom, maybe it would be Kamala, maybe, or somebody else.
That's interesting
Um,
though. The thing about Newsom is like you're getting two Californians. I mean, that's pretty
yeah,
rare.
you couldn't do that constitutionally.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
So
here's the thing. Like, my wife has been paying attention to the news, and my governor has been, making the national news circuit,
interesting.
right? All over, like Tim Walz has been making the rounds, and
So we'll have a Minnesota California ticket. Isker,
yeah,
congratulations.
here we go. It should be us. It should be us. But she's like, I think he's going to try to run in 2028, and I'm like, nobody's going to vote for a balding, fat, white boomer, for the Democrats. And so I just was skeptical of it, and now I'm like, and she's watching, she's probably laughing at me right now. And now I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
what if that's part of the plan? What if he's the dark horse out of nowhere? And here's the successful governor. He led his state during the BLM, during the racial justice riots, and has fought for all of these wonderful, great things. And someone made the comment here. Where'd it go? Yeah, it was John Wright, right? That this negates all of Trump's campaign points against Biden because it gives the Democrats a clean candidate, right? So if he's running against Governor Tim Walz, right, then
Mhm.
right, he can't campaign that you're the worst president America's ever had. I don't care how many historians say that you're great. You're terrible. Our country is ruined all
Mhm.
because of you, and everybody knows it. Everybody goes to the grocery store, like, and has to pay twice as much as they did a couple years ago for all the same stuff,
Mhm.
right? Everything is a disaster everywhere, and it's your fault. You're the one that's letting people over the border, right? Well, you can't say that to Tim Walz,
Yeah.
right? So
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, this is I mean, at the end of the day, this is uncharted territory.
shut it down.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
Rusty, your wife is paying attention to the news. Yeah, she likes to watch the news. And she always, because she wants to have stuff to talk to me about, other than things women talk about. So
Which is what? Kids.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a woman.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, from Steve, for Big Mike and Newsom or Hillary and Kamala.
Big Mike.
Uh, I don't think so. I think
I think
Obama's spouse doesn't have any interest in
yeah,
the work of running for president.
she's also insanely unpopular. Like nobody
Yeah,
likes her.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's right. Yeah. Right, at least Ilhan cannot run. She was born in Mogadishu. Well, they have ways of making birth certificates, so you never know. But yeah, like
okay, so was there
I don't
anything
know.
of substance at all, or was it just insane?
No, no, there actually was detail that
So
mattered.
did they ask Trump about January 6th?
Yes, yes. So
How do you
CJ,
do?
this is a great podcasting because CJ didn't, he
I'm hearing
watched
this
like
all
half.
for
He
the first
watched like half of it. Yeah, they did ask him about it, and Trump's answer was great. I think it was probably the best, uh, the best response that he gave to his interlocutors, in CNN, where he's like, January 6th, right? We didn't have millions of people flooding across our border. We didn't have wars all over the world. We didn't have massive inflation. We didn't have all of these problems on January 6th, right? January 6th, we didn't have all, like he's saying, our country was respected in the world, all this stuff, right? That was his that was his answer to it when they brought it up. It's like, yeah, you want to talk about January 6th? We can talk about that, right? Our country was in great shape on January 6th, and
Mm,
now it's not, right? And like the implicit statement from that, and maybe a thing they'll seize on, is that he's saying the protesters are right, right? They should,
mm,
right? Imagine if Mike Pence wouldn't have been a coward and he wouldn't have accepted the and a traitor, and wouldn't have accepted the fraudulent, well, I can't say that on YouTube. Probably we'll get nuked. But he wouldn't accept the electoral
contested.
votes
Mhm.
of contested states.
Yeah.
Um, right, our country would be a lot better shape. And he gave answers too, where it's like, look, I would love it if you were a great president and our country's in great shape. I would be home golfing all day and enjoying my life. I
Mhm.
don't want to have to do this. Right. I'm doing this because things are so bad. Right. And whether that's true or not, we could be cynical about it. It's a great answer. Right. It's a phenomenal answer from him. And so no, I think like just separating the two out, right? Obviously, the thing people are going to focus on is Biden's performance, and obviously we know why, right? That's going to be the main story of the debate. But Trump's performance was, I mean, I've watched all his debates all the way back to 2016 and the primary debates. This might have been his best performance ever, right? I mean, maybe it's recency bias, right?
He doesn't.
Maybe I'm just being a Trump
Yeah.
bobo here, but I thought he did remarkably well, and I mean I feel like I could be pretty objective with him. I've said when he's done terrible, like he did a terrible job,
Mhm.
um, in debates.
It's like I mean, he doesn't need right now to do the old, showbiz stuff. I mean,
No,
he's already got those people shored up. But people have been hearing for the last 3 years that Trump's insane. He's a buffoon. He's a clown, and he showed them tonight that he's not. Like that's all he needed to do, and that he was
yeah,
competent, and that he was
mhm,
he was cognizant of his own presence on the stage.
yeah,
That's all he had to do.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he. I mean, if you just look at this and you don't know any, well, it's almost impossible to know nothing about these two guys. But if you just look at it just objectively, like these two individuals on the stage, and you said, right, like you owned a business, right?
Mhm.
Say you own a business, you're hiring a manager, right? Which of those two guys are you going to say, here, run my business, or here,
Yeah.
run this thing that's really important to me, right? This mumbly, feeble old man who can't remember anything that he's saying. Like there was one great line in there where Joe mumbles something just trailing off at the end of a statement,
I
and
it is
and and Jake Tapper is like, Mr. Trump, do you want to respond to that last sentence from President Biden? And Trump's like, I don't even know what he said. I couldn't understand him. I don't think he knew what he said. It's like, it's killing me, man. I lost it when he said,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it
That's
was this comment from Ethan right here. Right, Trump gave the media no rope with which to hang. I mean, they're going to try. They're going to
yeah.
try to spin certain statements and things like that. Like I can right now, I'm going to guarantee that the at Biden HQ or Biden Harris HQ, whatever their Twitter account is, right? They're going to say like there are a few times where Trump like slipped up or he had like a weird pause or something while he's collecting his thoughts. We're
Mhm.
like, see, Trump is stumbling over his words. He's not cognitively able to be president. Like they're gonna tweet something like that out in the
I
next
hope they
24
do.
hours. I do too because it would be hilarious. The replies,
Yeah.
like they're gonna do that though. They're gonna be like, see him stumble over his word because they tweet that kind of stuff out all the time, right?
Mhm.
He's stumbling over his words. Like he's not cut out for this. And but so they're gonna try to do that. But right, but more seriously, right? This comment here from Ethan where he just kept hammering away how much better things were under his administration, which like people remember that.
Yeah.
Like they remember 2017 to 2021. Life was pretty good,
Mhm.
right? People had jobs. Like one of the things, like of course, they like lie about the economy all the time, right? They're lying constantly, saying the economy's so great, it's so wonderful, all these jobs, yada yada yada. And then it's like if you look at like job like people talk about this all the time. I mean, you see it online. I see it like privately with people where they'll post a job on Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever, and they'll get like within the first hour or two, like thousands of applicants, and they have to turn it off.
Mhm.
And it's like there are so many people that don't have jobs. Like all the unemployment numbers are cooked, right? They're all fake. And so like people know this. They feel it all over the place. And so yeah, he just kept hammering that point that when I was president, things were good, the economy was good, the situation in the world geopolitically was very good, and now uh, everything is a mess. And you couple that right, what Ethan says here, right? The contrast was embodying his energy versus Biden's necrotic shambling. That's a good. That's a good comment. Right? Yeah, like you could like the two guys are an embodiment. Like their performance tonight was an embodiment of their respective presidencies.
Mhm.
Right? You see this guy who can't even speak a coherent sentence. Right? And what has happened under his administration, it's just so fitting, right, between the two. It was shocking, right, just how much that stood out. And yeah, like this is the thing, right, from Caden, right? The Democrats don't replace him, Trump wins. um
Yeah, so that's the question. That's when we'll
yeah,
know. If
yeah.
Trump's not replaced, they want Trump.
It's the pivot, right? They're pivoting to
That's
him. Yeah,
mhm.
well, I mean, you see some of this like
But there
in
are elements of, like, and people pointed out on Twitter that, Wall Street wants Trump. They don't want all of this new, I mean, the DEI stuff on one hand, but also like what's it called?
BlackRock wants it, but not Wall Street as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, but all the green energy stuff, the environmentalist stuff,
Yeah.
Wall Street doesn't really want that. They do like, I mean, the JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon
Well,
and
yeah, you remember the Jamie
they
Dimon
all want,
comments.
yeah,
Yeah.
they all want
Yeah.
Trump, so
Well, yeah, I mean, they brought up like that was the stupidest and I don't mean this just in terms of hyperbole. The single stupidest question in a debate I've ever heard in my life, right, from Dana Bash, where she's saying, "We had the hottest summer ever on record. Temperatures are up everywhere." Like it's completely made up.
mhm.
Complete nonsense. So what are you going to do about it, right? Just this total climate hysteria, which I mean, a major chunk of the Democratic electorate, like they believes it. They believe it. They hold to this. Like this is a religion, right? They think the world is ending because we're driving cars,
Mhm.
right? Because we haven't built enough windmills or something. And Trump deflected those. I mean, he didn't even address it really. He's like, when I was president, we had the best environmental issues. Like I want clean water, I want clean air, right? Those things are important, and we had a great record on those things. But all this other stuff is a scam. Like the Paris, like I got out of the Paris Accords because that was soaking our country, and China and all these other countries weren't participating in it. So why would we be part of that, right? So I'm not going to put the comments up on screen. I don't know if you've been seeing these.
I see him.
All
Andy
right.
kicked me out
Well,
of our account, by the
you
way.
know, it's a late at night show tonight. Right. Biden is the first man to debate in an adult diaper. Pretty impressive.
That's not bad.
No, but it gets better. No,
Oh,
Pete Buttigieg.
oh.
All right, we're engaging in some jocularity right now, joking around. Um, but really, it was something else. Like I again, I don't want to like just sound like I'm just recency bias mania here, but I have never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, you remember the 2012
Mhm.
Republican presidential debate, and when like Rick Perry froze and forgot his list of three things, and like
Yeah.
that guy's totally disqualified for being president ever. We can't ever have that guy. What an idiot, right? Totally
Mhm.
incompetent. And it's like Rick Rick Perry would right now. I don't know what his mental state is right now. Would run circles around Joe Biden, like
Mhm.
objectively. And I, I'm just like, how can you put a guy like that up on stage? Like, how could they do this?
Yeah.
What is going on with these people that they put this guy? But they're stuck. They can't do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to add on that. Like, I don't really know what it's I think it's fascinating. I don't know what their plan is, but I think they've got some plan Bs and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, maybe. It was interesting too. Like there was like they asked him point blank, "Are you going to deport every single illegal alien in the country?"
oh, they asked
Uh,
him that?
yeah, they asked him that. Are you going to deport every single, even if they have spouses, they're American citizens, or if they have jobs and everything else? And he didn't give him a straight answer. And actually, right? Obviously, I want him to say yes. They'll have to go back, right? I want him to say that. But I can understand why. Right, he's on this debate stage,
He
and
knows how popular that is, though.
people are listening to him. And I mean, he did talk on immigration and how we have this problem, we have to deal with it, but he wouldn't give a straight answer on it at
Mhm.
all, which is which it's kind of telling, right? I mean, what does that mean? Does he think it's not possible? They're not going to be able to do it, even if he wants to? Does he think the way they framed it, right, is like a gotcha, and he doesn't want to hash out this policy and figure out exceptions and things like that. Um, I don't know, but the entire time, I mean, every chance he got, he brought up immigration
Mhm.
in this debate. Every like, if it was even tangentially related to whatever question he was asked, right? He snuck immigration in there because he does realize how popular it is, that mass deportations are very popular. But like you have, I mean, even on the um like the Ukraine question, right? He's asked you about Ukraine, like President Putin has said that if Ukraine ceases its attempts to join NATO and they allow us to keep the territory we've won, right, that will end the war, right? Would that be an acceptable, right? Those terms acceptable? And he said, no, those terms aren't acceptable. Um, but then he refused to elaborate on any of it, which I think is wise, right? You don't go to a negotiation like that and say, all right, we're gonna say specifically what this thing is. Like you want to play the cards close to your vest, which is a wise foreign policy thing. And what he also said is, I'm gonna end the war before I even get sworn into office. Right, that war is gonna be over.
Mhm.
Right, which is that's very Nixonian. Right,
Mhm.
being able to say, I'm gonna end the war in Vietnam. Right, very Nixonian attempt by him, and And I mean, with Ukraine, like we get what's going on with Ukraine. All the people watching us, I think, 99% of everybody that's watching us right now understands what the whole Ukraine war is. But you have to remember that 70-80%, I mean, it's changed recently in the last year. I think the Ukraine war opinion among Republicans has changed significantly. But even still, right, you talk to especially anybody over 60 or 65 about Ukraine, and they're Republicans, be like, no, Putin is going to take over the world if we don't stop. Like, they still believe in this stuff,
Hmm.
right? And so he has to balance that, right? He has to balance between, like, he knows what a scam it is. he
Hmm.
he knows the problem. And there was a great line where he's like, yeah, every time Zelensky comes over here, he leaves with $60 billion. Greatest salesman of all time.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm not knocking him. Okay, yeah, it's him. It's him over here. Like, he has to balance a huge chunk of his electorate that has been propagandized from birth that Russia's the enemy and they're bad, and that Putin wants to recreate the Soviet Union. You're arguing with the TV, right? When you're arguing with a boomer,
Sure.
and so they believe whatever the TV says about Russia,
Yeah.
and so he's got to deal with that section of his electorate, but then also a major chunk is people like us who get what's going on, and so the lack of specificity there, I think, was really good. It was a perfect balance between kind of the two poles on that issue. Whereas, and you could just pivot to Biden and say, like, this guy is spent $200 billion in Ukraine, and what has happened? You've had all of these people die for no reason, right? He brought up the fact that the death tolls are a lie, that it's probably 2 or 3 times as much as they say it is, that they don't have any men left,
Hmm.
right? The war is a disaster. All these people died for no reason at all, right? And he didn't get into the weeds on it, which I think was good. Where it's like, you tell Ukraine you're going to join NATO and you're forcing Russia to act. Like, he didn't get any of that, which I think in this context probably was wise.
Hmm.
So it was it was extremely well done, right? I thought he performed very, very well. And it was just his usual self. Like, there've been moments in the campaign where it's like, oh, he seems a little bit older, seems a little more tired, a little more run down than ever before. But that was not the case,
No,
right?
he's
Maybe he was on some uppers tonight too. I don't know.
yeah, well, I mean, I get tired. I mean, I've been working really hard lately, so but he has so much more pressure in his life than even I do. Like, he's got an incredible amount
I
of
don't
energy.
know. Don't sell yourself sell yourself short, CJ.
Well, no, but like he's what? He's 70 something,
Yeah, he's like 78. Yeah,
and he's like undergoing some of the most like significant court cases in modern history just in terms of personal pressure. You know what I mean? Like, these are really serious situations that he's going through. I'm really impressed with his mental
yeah.
stability and vitality. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, a 78-year-old guy to be able to perform like he does, and even, I mean, he probably is not going to be able to do what he did in 2016, where he's doing 8 or 9 campaign stops, talking for an hour completely extemporaneously, even if it's the same speech over and over and over again. But like, dude, like, if I when when I preach, on a Sunday, like, I preach one sermon on a Sunday, and then, like, the whole afternoon I'm exhausted.
that's what I'm
And this
saying.
and
Yeah,
like this guy, and
yeah,
I'm not even 40 yet, and this guy was doing 5, 6, 7 campaign stops day after day after day, and is full of energy. Right, is just performing. So it's remarkable. Like, even if you hate him, right, you have to give him credit on that.
yeah.
So one of the yeah, I mean, one of the issues that he had.
We should
Yeah.
read some Will Stansel tweets.
Is he? Are you
Yeah,
looking
have
at
you
it right
seen what
now?
he's been saying?
No, go ahead, my fellow Minnesotan. I want to know
No,
what he
yeah,
has to say.
I saw it earlier. Let me pull it up. I responded to one, but let me.
You should put it. You should put it in the. You should present it so everybody on the screen can see
I
it.
can't. You locked me out of our account.
Oh,
Well, he
yeah.
said,
Sorry about that.
this is hilarious. He says, "I'm aware that everyone is busy doing theater criticism about whose voice is stronger, but I think history will view this clip of a physically aged Biden still confronting the monstrous Trump rather differently than we will. I mean, he's got this like Looney Tunes, like Marvel like
Yeah.
interpretation of like Biden, who's obviously mentally in the dumpster, and he's like like the cope and seethe of Will Stansel is just legendary.
Wow. That is
Let me find some more.
that's remarkable. What else has he got? What
Yeah,
else has he got for us?
he's he's funny because he's like he knows that he has to parrot these things because he's
Oh
running.
yeah.
What is he running for? Is it a state level or a
Minnesota State House. Yeah.
state
Like
level?
House District 61 or something. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
Oh.
Um,
Let's hear it. This is great.
I mean,
This is great
yeah, I mean,
podcasting.
he says, I mean, Biden is obviously old and looks and sounds old, and it's obviously a weakness. Like, he's just old.
He's
He's
old.
old.
Yeah. Yeah, he has to say that stuff though. Like like seeing their reaction to this. This is I mean, this is
Have
a
you been reading
taste
his
of
tweets lately about like the far right?
oh yeah.
Like, he's
Yeah.
just completely losing it, and he can't control himself. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, he's maybe that's in Neil Shenby's future. I don't know. Uh but no, in reality though, man, like it is like seeing their reaction to these things. It has these like echoes of election night 2016, right? Just
So
the pure cope and
let
desperation
me
and
ask
all of it.
the commenters: is CNN talking about Newsom right now? Because I'm seeing on Twitter that they're all talking about Newsom. I'm curious to know if anyone else is seeing that.
I don't know. It's true. Neil does have a much better head of hair than Will Stansel. That's true. That's right. Missionary Kid Ultra. That's right. We should be fair. We are fair and balanced here on Contramundo. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. That's what Twitter is saying. That's what you're seeing.
That's what I'm seeing.
Is that a silicone ring you have on your finger there?
Is it a silicone ring? No, it is not. It is the
Oh,
I'm fidgeting.
okay. I was gonna say, whoa, that's breaking news. If I ever saw any CG wearing a silicone
Oh,
ring, um, man, no, I'm flabbergasted, man, by this debate. I know. I mean, some people are like, okay, like it's all a show, right? It's all written, pre-written for us. It's all fake. It's not real. This is just political theater.
that's my
The
line.
elites are running everything.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Optimism is cowardice.
I'm stealing your moves, but I, I there's a degree to which that's true. I mean, we should get back to just talking about elite preference and elite theory because we like to talk about things that are much more substantial than just electoral politics and Joe Biden and Donald Trump arguing about their golf handicaps, which did happen. Did you catch that at the end of the debate?
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was actually quite wonderful. The idea that Joe Biden has a 6 handicap. Yeah, okay. But no, the like elite preference, right? An elite theory. I mean, you see this beginning to happen. Like, what was the podcast? The All In podcast. Is that the one with David Sachs that Trump went on? And that's the one where he went on and it was very controversial because he said, yeah, actually, we should have some more immigrants, and we could send them to college, and they get a green card stapled to their diploma. Like he said that, and it's horrible, obviously. And it's one of these things. Like Trump says this stuff, and then he walks it back, and he's, it's not good. But he's always A/B testing and all these things, and when he sees that it's unpopular, he reins himself in. So that's the thing people focused on. But the fact that he was on that podcast, right, with all of these guys, all of these Silicon Valley guys, all of these wealthy guys, is telling. It's very telling. I mean, what Jamie Dimon said, basically said, well, Trump was kind of good for Wall Street when he was president, and things have not been so good lately, right? I'm paraphrasing, but Jamie Dimon saying that is a big deal. And the fact is that I mean, just on the Israel stuff, and a few people in in the comments are talking about Trump on Israel and that issue. Um, and I mean, even on that issue, I'm just like, I don't know, like we're not, we don't have anybody who's going to say no to the Israel lobby running for president ever.
Mhm.
In the near future anyway. So it's I just look at it in terms of presidential electoral politics as a moot point. Not that I don't care about the issue, but that it's not going to happen yet. And the Democratic Party, right, 50% of their donors, like, or 50% of the donor money that comes into them is Jewish, is from Jews, and so for Biden to, like, I mean, if they think he's bad on the thing that they care about most, which most of them it's Israel, right? Then that money shifts over to Trump, right? That's why they care about Israel at all, right? It's not, they don't care about 2% of the U.S. population how they're going to vote. They care about the money that will either go to them or to their opponent's campaign, and so all of that. How did Biden do? Depends.
What was it?
This comment here. How did Biden do? Depends. Yeah, it's a late hour. I'm all the jokes are getting me. Um, and so they see. I mean, so there's the two interests, right? Israel and the big money, Wall Street, and they see. All right, well, Trump has showed he's going to support us in both these things, and Biden is, we don't really know, and so like that's going to play a role in the election too. And I think going back to, maybe they're just throwing in the towel. Maybe he's the selected guy this time around. Uh, that's telling,
Well,
right?
we had the I saw someone messaged us while we were on air, and you can look at that later. But just the position that, like, I think the elite knows that the far left has gotten a little bit insane,
Yeah,
and they need Trump as sort of a release valve a little bit.
yeah,
I mean, he's still going to be pretty much a team player on the hegemonic foreign policy stuff.
yeah.
Maybe not fully on the Ukraine stuff, but definitely on the Israel stuff. And foreign policy is the life of the regime, right?
Absolutely.
Trump will be a team player on all of those things that really matter, which is Wall Street and foreign policy, and even on immigration, man. Like, unless he gets some real good guys who are willing to just go to the mat on it, like Stephen Miller, maybe. Um, he didn't do a whole lot last time, you know. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they can see Trump as sort of this, they can release some pressure. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't see Trump as someone that's gonna save America or anything like that,
Yeah. No. No. Neither
Uh,
do I.
but I think he does normalize certain narratives, themes, and agendas that are good for us long term.
Yeah. No. I'm looking up the message right now. I'm like, where is it?
Oh, it's on
But
Telegram.
yeah, I found it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that that's certainly plausible. And that's been my position on Trump for probably the last year. I mean, even when we were talking about the primary and DeSantis and the other people running, is that, yeah, I think the regime sees him that this where segments of the regime see him this way. Um, that's true,
let me ask you
and
this.
yeah,
So I think that there are certain aspects of, like, the international ruling class that
mhm.
really does have an agenda of replacism, right?
Oh yeah,
Replacement. So,
yeah,
but there's also got to be some power elite in America that recognize that their power positions can be undermined by mass immigration. So
mhm,
there's
mhm,
probably some sort of counter energy going into someone like Trump that might push back a little bit, or at least slow things down, because immigration is not good for everybody.
mhm,
It's good for, like, internationalists.
mhm.
But there's certain, like especially like labor unions, and I mean that's kind of an outdated argument, but there are
Yep.
there are aspects of, like, the labor force, manufacturing, and other institutions and guilds in America that would benefit from less illegals, getting the illegals out. I mean, even
Well,
even like the big police lobbies and
mhm.
Indians and all of them, like they don't want like like a lot of the military and a military adjacent, police force adjacent groups, they
Mhm.
really are overwhelmed by immigration as well.
They absolutely are. I think. I mean, I think some of this goes back to like the Israeli question, right? That they just watched all of these protests happen on college campuses, and many of the people doing it are people that have come here through the policies of mass immigration and demographic replacement. And I mean, is it possible that some of them who had previously supported this, because they're like, oh, this is good for our bottom line, all this cheap labor and all the cultural destruction that happens because of it and so forth. Oh, it's actually now it's harming us. Now it's our ox being gored.
Yeah, yeah,
So we got to
exactly.
put a stop to this, right?
Exactly.
I yeah, yeah, I think that's totally
I mean,
plausible.
when you have like, I mean, wealthy urban elite like wealthy urban areas, and those are now the areas that are being threatened by
Mhm.
immigration. So
Yeah,
at
yeah,
some point, when it shows up at your doorstep, you're suddenly not so interested in it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I mean, I maybe that is the wedge, right? That is the problem. And here's the other issue. Since we're gonna start trashing Trump now. That's that. Can we do that? I still want him to be president. I'm still gonna vote for him. All those kind of things. But we can be critical of him too because we're very fair and balanced here.
Yeah,
We're
we're
objective.
moderate.
We're very
Yes.
moderate. And so this one from Ronald McNuggets, right? They or even just presume Trump wins, right? I think that's what this comment is getting at, right? They'll cut down on immigration from Mexico or from the border, from all of Central America and everywhere else, but they will ramp up immigration from India,
Yeah,
right? I'm sure you saw, or maybe I shared it with you, the map of all 50 states,
I saw that. I
and
should. Yeah.
yeah, the number two country that everybody comes from, like number one presumably is Mexico, and the number two place, it's interesting,
India.
like the upper Midwest is Germany. I didn't know we were getting German immigrants, but I guess we are. Um,
What kind of Germans?
it's good. Yeah, born in Germans or
paper
Afghans,
paper Germans. Yeah.
Afghans from Germany. Um, but right, what are they doing? Right, and even his comment, well, we want to staple a green card on the back of diplomas. Right. Well, whose green cards? Right, guys from the subcontinent. Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we
No,
want. Lots.
I agree with that.
And the tell, right? I mean, going back to the vice presidential question, right? The tell on this is who is Somalia. Yeah, we didn't get Germans in Minnesota. We got Somalis for number two there. The tell on this will be who's his vice presidential selection. If it
Yeah.
is
So
Vivek Ramaswamy, that
that's
will tell you.
that's what I was saying earlier in the group chat. So
Yeah, both VPs, Indians. Your
I
your
just,
thoughts,
man,
CJ?
like England, Scotland, Ireland. You're like, is this a coincidence? What is
Probably
going on here?
Canada very soon.
Yeah, this is a very significant replacement um fruit for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a
I
big
mean,
deal. That's
turning.
going to be the tell. I agree with you. That would be an interesting tell because
Yeah,
that if they throw in the towel and they make a deal and Trump's allowed in and
and
Vivek's the
Vivek.
guy,
Yeah.
that's I'm not voting for him.
You heard it here.
I don't mean to pull like an Ann Coulter on you, but like it just seems like
Yeah,
there's something meta going on here, you know.
yeah, yeah. It is. It's interesting stuff, right? It's.
I'm gonna get in trouble for that. I didn't mean it, and it's, but like I do think it's really significant.
Wait, how are you going to
Um,
get in trouble? Because you are against the
no,
subcontinental takeover?
well, no, because it sounds like I said I'm not gonna vote for him because he's brown or something.
Oh no, no, no,
Yeah,
no. But I mean,
no,
but it's telling. Like the issue. I mean, you talked about this on Chronicles, right? The issue is people from a very particular culture
mhm.
come and then they bring their cousins and their uncles and all of their relatives, and they're very insular. They're very nepotistic, and you bring one. They bring only their people. And they only deal with their people,
Mhm.
and you just make colonies of India in America, right? That's a problem.
Did you see
Um,
that video I posted about the Indians in Canada saying that they're gonna just completely take over the businesses in the area and only sell to themselves and their people?
I didn't see that, but it's not. I
It's just
mean,
it's hilarious because it's obvious that that's the way that cultures think about themselves. That's the way that
mhm,
the Somalians think about themselves, and
mhm,
that's the way that's what the way that peoples function.
mhm.
Except for peoples like Americans who have been completely brainwashed. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, this is the way. That's the way it goes, and that's what's happening to Heritage America.
yeah, yeah. We're our own in groups out group, as Stephen Wolf likes to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. That's a great way to
It's
put
true.
it.
Yeah, and all the other group, and this is what he says in his book, right? All the other groups coming here, right? They practice in group preference,
Mhm.
right? And nobody says boo about it, and it's of course it's normal and natural for people to practice in group preference among their own people, and Americans don't, right?
Mhm.
So no, it's a major issue, and I hope he isn't, just for like that reason alone, because it signals something very unsettling, right? If this guy, winds up as the vice president of the United States, right? He's going to, yeah, he's going to bring more Indians to America, right? That'll be a major priority,
Well,
right?
he's stated that very explicitly.
Oh
That
yeah.
that's one of his objectives, is to make it easier for people like his parents to come in.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, and it's like, no, I don't want more temples where they worship demons in my country. I'd like fewer of those. Actually, I don't want that here. No, don't think I don't want. I don't want a guy who worships demons as the vice president of the United States. Right? We already have that right now. I don't. I would much like to not have that anymore. So no, that's that. It. Hopefully he announces. I mean, I don't want Doug Burgum any more than you do. Um, but it
so
seems like he's the other
I know
option.
nothing about Doug. I thought JD. Yeah, JD's not good. Yeah, it's either going to be him or
I don't think
Vivek.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be Burgum or Vivek. And I mean, some people have thrown out the idea of, oh, what's the governor
So
of Virginia? Um, oh my goodness, I can't think of the governor of Virginia. What's his name?
I forget.
Oh man, it's late at night. My brain's working as well as Joe Biden's is right now. Uh, oh my goodness, I can't think
Just
of his.
Google it.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I have the internet, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Then Youngkin. That's right.
Glenn Youngkin. Yeah, Glenn Youngkin. That that he would be a good candidate because he would help him win Virginia. It's a very important state. Um, of course, he would be another Mike Pence, and that's the problem with Burgum too. Is like, this is not a guy who's all in on your side, and at least Vivek
Yeah.
pretends to be. It makes a convincing case that he is. Um,
I don't even trust. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any of them that can really be trusted. JD
yeah,
Vance might be the closest, but he's close with the PayPal mafia guys
yeah,
probably.
yeah.
But
With Peter Thiel, yeah.
yeah, so I don't know, man. Like we gotta the only way out is through. There, we can't
Yeah,
go back. We're not gonna turn.
yeah. You're blackpilling me tonight, CJ. You're blackpilling me, but yeah, I think you're right. Like the um yeah, maybe I mean, people are bringing up Ben Carson is the other figure that is possible. I mean, there's not much there with him. Like, I
He's
remember
so
when he ran,
bland. He's so
he very bland. But
yeah.
but that's a good contrast to Trump, is somebody that's just bland and boring. But he's pretty loyal to Trump
Yeah.
the entire time. So
What's
I don't
what
see, I wouldn't view him as a Pence type at all.
what was his take on J6 and all that?
I don't know. I don't know. That's
We'll
an
have
open
to
question.
do our
Yeah,
research. Get back
we
to
will
us.
have to. We will. I mean, we haven't really even covered the potential vice presidential
You
candidates.
know what we should do? You want to get Dan McCarthy on? I bet I could get him on.
Absolutely. Yeah. More on air production here. That'd be great to have him
He's a
on.
little bit normie on some of his takes, but he's really brilliant and knows the playing field really
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. 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 That this is another good point about Yunkin. Right. Down with the rainbow weirdos is he's super down with the
is he
rainbow
really?
weirdos. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What? So what
Yeah.
causes that? Is it just pressure? Is it just
Dude, the Republicans are cowards, man. Like they don't. That's why here I'm going to praise Ron DeSantis. Like he hasn't been. Like that's why he stands out.
yeah?
The rest of them are totally weak on this because they see the trajectory of things over the last several years, and they think it's always going to be this way, even though the like polling as far as like gay marriage goes with Republicans is going down, right?
Hmm.
Even among Democrats, it's slightly ticked down.
That's
And
the pressure valve I was talking about earlier.
yeah, as far as what like on that issue, or are you talking about like Nima Parvini's the woke getting put away?
Um, that's a good question. I don't agree with him on that, but I do think that they need to slow things down a little bit. There's sort of like a ratchet effect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep spinning forever. You got to come back a little bit once in a while. You
Mm-hmm.
got to let things normalize. Otherwise, people radicalize really fast.
Yeah.
You create reactionary movements if you don't let
Yeah.
it digest.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe them bringing Trump in is a point in OG Roland Rat's favor, right? Maybe they're not like totally putting it away completely, but they're just gonna cool it off for a while, and that would signal that.
Yeah, the other thing is you can't get a lot of people to care about that if they literally can't like pay their food bill,
Yeah.
you know? So
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of like you can do that if you have a very spoiled, prosperous society, you know? That's
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like a fruit of boredom. Like sexual
Yeah.
degeneracy is like what happens when humans get bored. So
Yeah. When a culture degenerates because they've enjoyed wealth for too long,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, the some of the comments like Trump's not going to do anything. Yeah, I agree, right? I mean, not nothing, right? There will be things. There will be men in his administration who will move the needle on certain issues, right? The staff that he has will be pretty good. Obviously, night and day difference from what we currently have.
Yeah, but
Obviously,
he's still talking about Nikki Haley and stuff.
what is he doing? Whoa, 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 whoa! What has he said
Trump?
about Nikki? Yeah, what did he say about her?
He said he would hire her again.
Uh,
You didn't see that? It was like a week
no,
ago, yeah.
no. Oh, it's terrible. It's over. It's over. Nikki Haley anywhere near the administration? No,
That's why it
no.
makes sense, like, they're doing like, he's good on Israel or yeah, he's
From
pro-Israel, right?
from their perspective, he's
From their
good. Yeah.
perspective, he's good on Israel, so they could allow him. I mean, there could be deals being made,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. I guess we will see. I was gonna play a couple clips, but maybe we'll have to save that for another time because it's getting late. It's almost 11 o'clock my time.
I know.
It's it's still bright and early in your time. 9 o'clock.
Yes, I'm
But
still up. I gotta go though too.
but yeah, it is. It was to recap everything. Biden's cooked. It's done for him. It's over for Joe Biden, one way or the other.
Well, the good
Uh,
news is he has no idea how bad he did, you know? So
that's right. That's right, my man. It was the most pitiful performance in a presidential debate. I mean, I've been watching these since I was 5 years old. Um, I mean, I don't really remember when I was in kindergarten the Bush and Clinton debates very acutely. But I would remember if it was this bad. I think 32 years later, and
yeah.
this is the worst I've ever seen, ever. Anybody, even primary debate, general election debate, the worst performance by anyone I've ever seen. Right?
Good. I mean, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
let democracy die a cringe retarded death. That's fine with me.
you said it. All right.
You
That's
said it. Now we're gonna get kicked off YouTube.
yeah, you used bad words, CJ. Oh no.
Well, that's
Well,
I'm good for tonight.
yeah, that's right. Well, we will be back with our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow.
We will.
Yeah, tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Is that right?
That's late. Can we do earlier? We'll talk about it.
we'll talk. We'll talk.
Let's talk
We'll
about it
tweet it
now.
out.
No, no,
Yeah,
let's talk about it now. Let's people need to know what we go through every
yeah,
week for
that's
them.
right. All right. What? How? 2 o'clock Central.
Yeah, we could do 2 o'clock. That sounds good.
2 o'clock Central. It is. All right. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, we will finish out Neil Shenvy's article. We'll dig into that some more.
Okay, let's
Maybe,
do that. Yeah,
maybe there will be the debate. Maybe there will be debate with
yeah, we're
Warren or
talking about that. So
yeah. It'll be, and again, we're very fair and balanced, right? I
Mhm.
can be very fair, right? I'll be like the CNN debate moderators, just turn the mic off for you. Okay, now it's your turn. Right? I'll be very fair to
Yeah,
everybody. I mean seriously, I want it to be fair because I want the discussion to happen. I don't want
very
people
fair.
talking past each other. I it would be wonderful if there was some concord and agreement. I'm not going to hold out a ton of hope that everyone will come kumbaya at the end and agree, but at the very least, it won't be so acrimonious. It won't be people attacking and all of these things. There will be even an agreement to disagree, right? Would be a good outcome. So I want things to be fair and people to right actually engage with what the other people are saying. Right, it's not a lot to ask. So hopefully in the next coming couple weeks we'll be able to do that. But at any rate, it's been fun. I had a lot of laughs. I'm sure all of you did too. And we'll have more laughs tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. So until then, thank you all so much for watching and enjoying the debate recap with us. And we will see you next time.